panel 3 was incredible. So it makes me even more excited for panel 4. We have our mental health leaders and authors panel.
How do you define a safe space? What does that mean for, especially in the work that you do and how you bring that to it?
So I thought about this a lot. Again, I was a founding principal of a charter school, and so creating a school that was a safe space was really important to me. Being a person who was not in safe spaces most of my life and recognized that even as a professional. I started my career as a private school teacher in very white, affluent private schools, being the only Black teacher there. And so when I started my school, I wanted to make sure that I created a place that was safe for everyone there. And it wasn't just for the kids, it was for the entire community. So for my staff, for example, it was really important for me to start there. And so for me, a safe space is somewhere, a space where you have people who look like you have people who have experiences that are similar to yours. You have people who have experiences that are very different, but that everyone there is open to hearing each other's experiences. And so as I was leading and starting this and hiring people, I wanted to make sure that I had people within our community who are working in my school who are representative of all of the community. And I wanted to make sure that no one felt silenced as well. Like that was really important to me that my teachers didn't feel silenced because then they don't silence the kids. And so if I have a teacher who's married and puts up his pictures of his wife and his kids, then I also have a teacher who may be gay who's married who puts up a picture of her wife and her kids. That was really, really important to me that everyone was represented. And I think that that representation really creates that safe space for people to be able to feel like you have a voice, that your voice matters, and that your experience is seen.
Once you've created and cultivated the space for people to enter into, what's that next step maybe in terms of the healing journey? How do we start moving forward towards wholeness once we find ourselves in the safe space to be able to start unpacking it?
Yeah, I would say the first thing that I like to do is give language to experiences. And so for people coming into therapy with me, that's a thing that they haven't had is the language to talk about their experiences. And so normalizing their experiences through having shared language. It's one of those things like if there's a word for it, that means someone else has experienced it. And so once people hear that there's vocabulary around adoption, around loss, around grief, it gives them a sense of, okay, I'm not alone and I'm not isolated in this. And this is something that other people can relate to. So that's the first thing that I do is really giving language to it and normalizing it. And then really teaching emotional intelligence because I think that as adoptees, one of the things that we do in fosters, one of the things we do really well is suppress all of the emotions. I have broken teeth that I just got fixed 2 weeks ago from clenching my teeth so hard that because I'm suppressing those emotions. And so learning to put language to your emotions and really build that emotional intelligence is also really a great part of the work that I like to do with clients because we learn to not talk about it. We learn to be silenced. We learn to that other people silence around us that, oh, she's adopted. Shh, don't talk about that. And you hear that. And so you learn to suppress those things. So really building that emotional intelligence as well as the language for the emotions that you're feeling is like that's step one.
Yeah. I don't think there can be just one thing, but I'm wondering, is there a particular piece of vocab or language that you feel like we as a community of adoptees and fosters, but also allies, should know that maybe isn't as prevalent? Like the one piece maybe that you think people should definitely know and walk away with.
So mine is probably biased because I was a person who was coerced to relinquish my child as a teenager. And so the relinquishment as opposed to place for adoption for me or like birth parents, at that just even that term, but just using the word relinquished and having relinquishment is really important to me because there is no connotation, negative connotation to it, the way that other things feel, at least in my body, when I hear other words that talk about the experience of relinquishment and really understanding the coercion of it.
This is the mental health and leaders and authors panel. So I definitely want to talk about your books. Why did you want to write it? Why was that the time right to put the story out when you put it out?
I definitely did not go into this thinking I was going to write a book. I went into this writing journals, especially after reunion, after finding my biological family through DNA tests. and started journaling how I was feeling. And it was journaling how I'm feeling right now as I'm meeting this family and having all these questions. And then thinking about like, okay, well, how did I get here? So then I actually started like journaling backwards and thinking about my story and all of the things that got me to the place where I was. And then also some video journaling, video diaries as well that I did after I would meet my family and then watching them back and thinking like, wow, there's something in the fact that the way you reacted when you met your very first biological brother is exactly the same way you react when you like get up in the morning. So super even. Like the way I am right now is exactly how I was when I met them. And watching that diary and not seeing the bliss that I knew I was feeling in my body, but not seeing me emote it just had me like more interested in understanding who I am and how I got to be this way. And so I just started writing more and more and shared it with my dissertation chair years later after, I've gone through my PhD. I shared these writings with her and she told me to continue to write. And she said, write it all. And then if you want to share it with people, you can take things out that you want to take out. I ended up only taking out things that had to do with other people's stories that weren't mine, that I didn't feel like I had the right to tell. And the other thing is that I stopped writing. Um, in 2017, even though the book I stopped writing in 2023 really, but I stopped writing my experience from 2017 because I knew that I wasn't healed from the things that had happened more recently. And I wanted to make sure that my story was written from a really balanced place, a place of appreciation for the things that really went well in my life, but also a place of criticism for the things that didn't go well. And so that's one of the things that you'll notice in my story is that it's very balanced in that way. And that was really important to me. But yeah, I didn't write thinking I was going to publish this memoir, but at some point it was like, why not? Why not? If not me, then who was kind of that question that you hear in those ads for fostering, actually. And so I said to myself, why not? Why shouldn't my voice be in this space? And I recognized after dealing with clients that there were many people who did not have the autonomy to tell their stories because they were afraid of being estranged or they had some financial responsibility connected to their parents and they're afraid to break that tie, and so I wrote my story just because I published my story, because I could and I felt a responsibility to our community.
Thank you.